Hey dude, I have an addiction and it's destroying my life. So why am I making this video? Well, I had something else in mind, but the house is way too much of a mess and it just wouldn't work. Also, I don't really have the time, which is kind of related to, what this video is about. And I think other people are probably suffering from the same thing. Hopefully we can brainstorm solutions if anybody else is facing a similar issue. Now, what exactly are we talking about? Well, it's not substance abuse or sex or gambling, although I definitely understand the appeal in all of those things. And it is not my sugar, caffeine, or nicotine addictions, though I'm sure they're not helping. They're not destroying my life. Not in the same way. I'm talking about my addiction to wasting time. And I don't even mean video games. That would be great. No, I'm talking about with my phone, with Facebook. Now don't laugh, I'm serious. Like, I get home after running around, I'm exhausted, I make myself some food, I sit down and I start scrolling through things while I eat my lunch. And then I finish my lunch, and then I move out to this nice comfortable living room on one of these lovely couches where I'm surrounded by all of this stuff that I like, and just continue scrolling, vaping, scrolling, and before I know it, well, so much time has disappeared. I'll do the same thing when I go to bed. It's bedtime, I need sleep, I go lay down, I plug my phone in, and then, just really quick, I'll pull it up to see if I missed anything, or maybe I'll go shopping on eBay or check out Facebook Marketplace or see if I can find some great deals on, I don't know, useless stuff. And then I'll just keep going. You know how you get locked into Facebook videos and it kind of makes everything on your screen disappear except for just the video and then a sliver of the one before and the one underneath. If it didn't make the clock on the top of the phone disappear, then it might be a little easier to break free. But seriously, I'll go to bed at 11 and then it's like 1 or 2 in the morning when I finally, if I don't plug it in first, then the power will go off and then I'll sort of get broken out of the cycle. Or even going to the bathroom, I'll sit down to poop and I'll bring my phone in, and something that should take a couple minutes, less than 10, will take like 40. Sometimes I'll even go in there and pee sitting down just so I have my hands free so I can spend a little more time on the phone. It's ridiculous. It's idiotic. Now, this problem is not as high profile as something like depression or substance abuse or one of those things. Like, there's all kinds of information about that and all kinds of support. So it's like, this isn't a real problem. This isn't the kind of thing, you can reach out for help on, and that's not what I'm trying to do. So do not make a whole bunch of comments with like love and support and that kind of stuff. Please, there are people with real problems. And that's kind of the problem with this problem, is that it doesn't feel like a real problem. But it's definitely having a serious effect on me, because I think because it's so difficult to take seriously and not something that's deserving of sympathy or support or whatever, that's why it's so pervasive, and it is genuinely chipping away at, well, everything. See, the most valuable thing to me, the only thing that has any real value, as far as I'm concerned, is time. And I have been losing so much time with this stupid thing. And I don't blame the technology, and I don't blame Facebook or Instagram or eBay or Pinterest or whatever. It comes in many different flavors, but it's essentially the same thing. It's just, the problem is that it's not actually going anywhere. It's just entertainment. I don't learn anything. I don't get inspired. You would think that it's inspiring because a lot of it, it reads what you interact with and what you watch. So a lot of my stuff is DIY stuff and recycling and, greenwashing, and it's all very fulfilling. And I think maybe that's what makes it so easy to get lost in, is that it is it's a really easy and accessible quick shot of feel-good dopamine, right? It makes you feel like, I don't know. I know there's a million things out there that are bigger problems, and then on the surface, this just seems like some suburban privileged whining. But time keeps dripping away, and it seems like the more that passes, the faster it goes by. I think there's there's probably a real name for that, documented something or other. So, it has to do with the percentage of your life that it represents. A smaller percentage feels like it's going faster. And I have a great imagination and these huge dreams of the person that I'm trying to build myself into and grow and become, and all sorts of, such a huge list of things that I want to accomplish and things that I would have liked to have done with my life. And if this continues, because it certainly can, it scrolls infinitely, I think I could continue to do that until I'm too old to do anything else. And it has to stop sometime. Self-care and self-love and relaxation and all that sort of stuff is definitely important. However, I know I could be so much more than I currently am, and I could be so much more productive if not for this super easy and accessible online entertainment robbing me, well, allowing me to rob myself of the gift of boredom. Boredom is super important because when bored, you're kind of forced to come up with something, anything. And if you've got a constant feed, and what a great word for it, the trough of this these bite-sized morsels of entertainment and bare minimum fulfillment. Now, I'm certain I'm not alone with this. In fact, I'd be willing to bet a huge percentage of our population is suffering from the exact same problem. In the interest of banding together and overcoming this together, you could certainly build a support group, but wouldn't it be ironic if that turned into just another social media outlet for us all to scroll through and waste hours upon hours looking at motivation porn? r/r/ motivation, if you're familiar with Reddit, is exactly that. And I'm willing to bet there is tons of people making loads of money spoon-feeding all of this stuff to people suffering from just the same problem. Oh, the irony. See, how I'm living my life, what I'm doing, the whole trash picking for money, it's not my long-term plan. It's not supposed to be a career. One of the original motivations for doing it was actually to be uncomfortable. My intention was to force myself into a gig that I hated. I thought that, the smelly garbage and the scraping by, and I don't make much at all. Just enough, barely, through creativity, whatever, not complaining, did it to myself. The idea was that this level of discomfort would motivate me to strive for something more, to build something that I could be proud of, that was actually going somewhere. Unfortunately, I have a certain talent from just years of practice of being in situations that are, less than perfect. I'm pretty good at just, putting on a good face and making the most of stuff and, happily getting through the day. And I've become really comfortable with this. This wasn't supposed to be comfortable, but somehow I've actually adapted to it, and it feels pretty good. I have started to really enjoy this, and I'm perfectly happy. I actually really love my life. But I always do. And that's definitely a valuable skill that not everybody has, but everybody could learn and develop. But it has its downsides, such as the ability to be satisfied with situations that should not be satisfying. I'm not a smart man, and I don't know the psychology behind what causes this sort of self-destructive behavior or perpetuates it, but that's kind of irrelevant. I need to get back to being uncomfortable and get back to being bored. So, I'm much more interested in solutions, getting straight to the source of the problem and moving forward and fixing it. So I've identified what I think are the worst triggers, and I have, I think, some possible solutions there. So, the key triggers seem to be opening the phone when eating or otherwise having downtime, going to the toilet, going to bed, and those points throughout the day when you just generally have a question or a curiosity or something that you want to look up. Ask the Oracle. Google that. So I think one by one, these are pretty simple. Food and downtime. No more idly scrolling through, because it's just entertainment, right? I'm not learning anything. I think that would be a great time to just let the mind rest. Possibly visiting with somebody, but in real life. So that one's just a hard no. I'm not going to replace that with anything. On the toilet, leaving the phone outside. Ooh, putting a little table or something outside of the bathroom to place phones on. I actually have one just around the corner. I'll clear some space there, and then the phone can go there. And replace, well, if I replace it with a book, that's just going to be the exact same problem anyway. So either toilet time, leave the phone outside and forget about it and just don't entertain yourself while in there. Or maybe allow that as the only Facebook time, but then end it. Now going to bed, that one, I think just no phone in bed. I love it. I love that time in my day, but replacing that with a book is definitely the correct solution there, I think. I have plenty of books that I actually do want to read, so that shouldn't be difficult. That would definitely enrich my life. And then questions. Here, I've got a direct solution. This little bad boy, a notebook. See, the problem there is you just sort of go off on a journey through all of the vast reaches of the internet. I think whenever I think of something that I want to look up, see, I'm going to keep this on me and just make notes. And I think that'll be a really helpful thing just to have in all respects, because then you won't forget things. Free up some mental capacity to just be in the moment. I've read about this before, that motivation porn, There are tips in there. I guess I did learn something. A notebook, and then block out a specific amount of time to look up those things when it's appropriate, rather than just allowing them to creep in as a subversive interruption. So the notebook for the short term and the book for the bedtime. Now, I think that one's actually a bigger deal than I made it sound, because the biggest solution here would be sleeping properly. I think staying up until 2 in the morning watching silly videos and then spending the following day running on insufficient sleep is just managing energy levels poorly, and that's going to end up making a person feel sluggish and idle, and that will make it a lot easier to just melt into the couch and stay there. An object in motion remains in motion, whereas an object at rest is apt to remain at rest. That's some probably Greek dude or lady. So, yes, I think the most important solution here is no phone in bed, proper sleep, and a notebook, instead of just letting those things become little interruptions all the time. Ooh, emails. Combine the notebook with the appropriately blocked out time to reply to emails and other people. attempting to interact with you. Maybe twice a day. Maybe that's what I can do on the toilet. Now we're turning that into a productive time, and that sounds like efficiency to me. I'm so glad we're talking about this. Now, those sound like really effective, hard solutions, provided I stick to them. And now that we've become accountability buddies, I think, yeah, this is good. However, an object in motion remains in motion. That's the key point here. So, without something to do, without a clear direction for the day, it's going to be way too easy to just sit idly. So, I think there's a two-part solution here. Number one, a vision board. And I know that's such a buzzword and probably really campy, but I think it's effective. It seems to work really well for people who actually put the time in to do it. And I do know what I want to accomplish with this year, so that helps. I just put it up there. And then reverse engineer that into small individual steps that are then built into a schedule for the week. A sensible weekly schedule, one that includes R&R time, downtime, because you can't just go at 150% all throughout the day. You need to go in spurts, like 20 minutes to 2 hours, and then it'll be like 6 hours, and then a lunch, and then a 6-hour block divided into individual chunks, and then, some relax in the evening, because a human being doesn't need that. I'm not going to make the creation of that a part of this video. I'm going to work on that over the course of the next week, because there's a lot of stuff I want to do this year, and I don't want to accidentally spend it scrolling Facebook and nothing. Now, if anybody has any strategies or solutions that they think might work or have worked for them in the past, because I am not the only one with this monkey on my back. It's so weird. Then please put them in the comments down below, and if you want to talk directly, there's a multitude of other social media sites you can get a hold of me at. Thank you for understanding. I will have something a little more interesting next week, but until then, leave it better than you found it. Now let's keep doing the thing.